Okay, here we go. Give me an E minor.
An E minor.
We're on?
Yeah, we're on. Oy rachamono de yonei lani. Oy veyaneino. 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 Oy rachamono de yonei libo. Oy yaneino. Oy rachamono de yonei libo. Oy yaneino. Oy rachamono de yonei lani. Oy veyaneino. Oy rachamono de yonei lani. Oy veyaneino. Oy rachamono de yonei libo. Oy yaneino. Hey, rachamono, ay de yonei libo. Oh, yaneino. Oh, aneino.
Hey kids, what time is it?
It's time, Betzalel, for Gezintahait.
It is time for
That's my
Gezintahait.
favorite time.
And the story for tonight is called At Your Brother's Wedding You Dance. Now, Rosh Hashanah is coming up. And after Rosh Hashanah, 22 days later is Simchas Torah, 23 days later is Simchas Torah. Now the song that they just played is the song that we sing at the end of shlichas, which shlichas is the preparation for Rosh Hashanah. We ask Hashem to forgive us for anything we did wrong, and that's a song by me. When they sing that song, they start dancing around, and that's really the beginning of Simchas Torah. So even though later on we're going to go back to Rosh Hashanah, we'll tell a story of Simchas Torah. Once, on Simchas Torah, the Valditcheva Rav noticed there was a Jew dancing very enthusiastically with the Torah. And he recognized that Jew. His name was Shmuel, the shoemaker. And he asked him, Shmuel, did you learn any Torah this year? No, the shoemaker said. Then why are you dancing so happily with the Torah? At your brother's wedding you dance, Shmuel said. Now Rebbe says that really Simchas Torah is not just a brother's wedding. It's the essential rejoicing of every Jew over the fact that the Torah was given to him personally. If even one Jew, no matter how simple and unlearned, was missing on Mount Sinai when we got the Torah, the receiving of the Torah would not have taken place. Every Jew had to be there. So every Jew personally received the Torah on Mount Sinai. The verse states that the Torah that Moshe commanded us is an inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. And like any inheritance, its ownership is not dependent on the talents and intellect of the one who inherits. As long as he's a son, a Jew, he acquires the Torah through inheritance. Therefore, all Jews are equal in receiving the Torah, from the most accomplished scholar to the simple, unlearned person. And actually, the rejoicing of the simple Jew on simple Torah achieves more than that the scholar. As we see from our story, the simple shoemaker's joy gave additional joy to a Rebbe. In other words, the Baal Tisha Rav laughed, and he thought it was really cute what he said, at your brother's wedding you dance. The reason is that a scholar's rejoicing is mixed with his happiness in what he understands. His understanding covers and pure joy, which is not the case with the simple person. The simple person's happiness and pure joy shines through, but the scholar, it's mixed with his happiness and what he knows. And in reality, a simple person should not try to rejoice on the same level as a great man. Rather, the great man should try to rejoice like a simple person. But how's that person? After all, the scholar knows the Torah, and he's happy in that knowledge. So how can he rejoice like a simple guy? And by the way, I just want to add in here marginally that the way I understand, all of us have the simple guy and the scholar inside of us. We tell him that he needs to have simple faith, the scholar, that despite his depth of learning and rarefied style of inquiry, I think I got that from Label Esther, his great understanding does not reach the essence of the Torah. No matter how much he understands, he can't reach the essence of the Torah. The essence of the Torah is hidden from the eyes of all creation. It's the essential enjoyment of Hashem in his own essence. And the simple Jew brings a wedding as the metaphor. At your brother's wedding you dance, for simple Torah. So too, the giving of the Torah is described as the wedding of the Holy One, blessed be He, with the congregation of the children of Israel. A wedding is an example of great happiness, and as such it breaks all barriers to the point where one can achieve those levels of Torah that still remain beyond him, higher and higher with great strength. So since Rosh Hashanah is coming up, my version of Avinu Malkeinu. Oh, Tati, our King, won't you do a good thing? And please return with your people. And the angels all sing, oh, glorious King, won't you please return with your people? They made you a crown, won't you come back to town? And please return with your people. Oh, Tati, our King, you know it don't mean a thing unless you please return with your people.
Beautiful Nitzavim. Moshe, it's going to be the same chorus pretty much. Give me the E, like the E minor, like this last time.
You want to do the boogie?
We're gonna do a niggin, and above I'm ready. We're gonna rock this joint.
Rock the joint.
Oh, that's it. I'm supposed to blow
You need to hear that shit. Beautiful.
Okay, ready? Hey, ready?
We do that on
Ready?
singing. We need you to.
Ready? Here we go. Moshe, you ready? Hey, ay, 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 da, da, da. Ay, 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 da, da, da. Ay, 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 ay,
coming up. And on Rosh Hashanah, a brand new light descends.
Hey, Tzvi, 1 second. I just want to say hello. Abba Steinhauser, Yumedad Flores. And just yesterday we was talking about our good friend Yeshua Harris. Yeshua Harris is watching now. Yeshua, we love you so much. Okay, now we can go.
A brand new light descends to the chain of descent of the world.
I can't be photographer.
And tonight, through the teachings of Chassidus, we'll explore the details of Rosh Hashanah. How through our service, that brand new light is drawn through all the spiritual worlds, and finally infuses our world in its space and time and soul. 3 things in our world. There's the space of the world, the time of the world, and the soul of the world. And this new light infuses all 3. But there is even a more vital level than the new light, which is the vitality which is brought into Torah and mitzvahs. There's a new light and a life force that's drawn down into Torah and mitzvahs through learning and bringing into practice Chassidus. It's not a level of vitality like the revealed vitality of the body, the life in the body, which flows in the limbs from the brain, and like space-time, the life that's keeping it alive. It's not even an all-encompassing vitality, like a light that surrounds our world, like the soul of the year. But, Gimel Elef, are you getting this?
Yeah, it's good stuff, Tzvi.
It's an essential life higher and removed, a vitality which does not spread out to enliven anything. It's only the essential connection of a Jew to Hashem, called Yechidah, whose revelation is through Chassidus. Additionally, it's Chassidus that will explain to us how the details of Rosh Hashanah unfold. We have faith that our service brings a brand new light through all the spiritual worlds and finally infuses our world in its space and time and soul. World, year, and soul. And we have faith there's a new light that comes into it.
It's almost like he was taking a hit and
After all, every Jew is a believer, a son of a believer. You remember that?
Yeah.
Every Jew is a believer, a son of a believer. We believe a new light comes down. General faith is insufficient for the task to be accomplished. It's not enough that we believe a new light is coming down. Faith, according to Chassidus, must be internalized through intellect. And from there to emotion, and finally thought, speech, and action. So, let's explore the details of our and its inner dimension. What's the inner dimension? Tshuva. The inner dimension of the sound of the shofar is the return to Hashem. And that's how the new light and blessing is brought into the world. So 2 things happen on Rosh Hashanah. First, you have world, a new year renewed with new life. And the second thing is we crown Hashem as our king. So on one hand, there's a new light of life into the world. And on the other hand, we crown Hashem as our king on Rosh Hashanah. And that draws down a renewal of Hashem's delight being. And he has that delight in being our king from our service on Rosh Hashanah, particularly from the sound of the shofar. Okay, Gimel Aleph?
Yes, this
You
is
following
perfect. Mitzalel, this is perfect, Mitzalel.
A simple cry from the heart. Like the known mashal, the king's son in many years, and he returned from the long exile and he forgot the language of the court, and he just cried out with a simple cry, and the king recognized his voice. Rosh Hashanah is called the head of the year, not the beginning of the year. I'm sure everybody knows that. It's like the head of a body of a person. The head of a person has in it two. One, it controls the limbs, which listen to the desire that's in the brain. How the hands and the feet and all the limbs move is through the leadership of the brain, like a leader of people. He directs, the leader directs, and they respond. So too, the brain of a person directs the person. The head is the second thing, that's the first thing. The head is the leader of the body. The second thing, the head is the first embryonic development. When the embryo of the person develops in the mother, the first thing that develops is the head and the brain. All the limbs are included in the head. But fundament, it's their foundation, because from it is drawn the light and life of each particular limb. An organ through the nerves that branch from the brain to the particular limbs, which brings them the power to feel and to move. So certainly the life of each limb is hidden in the head as it first develops, and goes out from it to be revealed from the hidden state into the separate limbs. And this is the reason why the head is the leader of the limbs, because it's formed first and it includes all the powers that are going to be invested in the limbs. Similar to the head of a person, this thing of how it is in the godly level is similar to how it is in the person who's a microcosm of the world. Does anybody here know what a microcosm is?
Yeah, it's a small, there's a big cosm and a little cosm.
A little cosm.
What's made a cosm though? This is I have to figure out, Betzal. What's made a microcosm?
It means that a person has everything in it that that the big world has.
Oh.
So too, from the head of the
Almost
year,
like a small scale model or something like this.
you know, they ask a question. They ask a question: how do you catch an elephant?
How do you catch an elephant? I want to know that, Betzal.
So you take a milk bottle and a tweezers, and you
milk
turn
bottle?
the milk bottle upside down and look at the elephant, and pick him up with the tweezers and put him in the bottle. It's the same elephant. It's just a smaller elephant. That means a microcosm.
By the way, don't try this at home.
So too, from the head of the year, from the Rosh Hashanah, branches off how the soul of the year enlivens the year. Just like the soul of a person enlivens the person, and that branches off from the head, so too Rosh Hashanah is the head from which branches off the life of the whole year. In the microcosmic universe, in a person, each of the two aspects of the head depend on each other, because the limbs receive a spiritual life flow from the head. They respond to its instruction. And I just want to give a sidebar. You know what a sidebar is? Like a marginal comment.
Yeah.
When we tell the non-Jews that Israel is ours because God gave it to us, the reason why the heavenly chieftains that are in charge of those countries listen to us is because on Sukkot we give them their parnasa. So too here, the life flow for the world comes from the head, from Rosh Hashanah. And that's why the limbs listen to the head, because their life force comes from there. So too the non-Jews get their life force from the service that we do on Sukkot. And that's why those heavenly chieftains, when we tell them that God gave Israel to us, not because of some Englishman that signed a piece of paper.
Especially not in English.
As a gift and an inheritance, they will listen to us. Why? Because we bring them their panasa for the whole year. So Rosh Hashanah is the head of the year, which contains the source of flow of physical and spiritual life force for the whole year. And just as the physical form has its source in the head, so too the spiritual source, the move of a hand, for example, is included in the brain as a spiritual potential. The power of movement is included in the brain. So too, every move of walking of the foot is included in the brain as a spiritual potential. And emotions are included in the brain as a spiritual potential. So we understood in Rosh Hashanah, which is the head of the year, includes the spiritual potential of all the 365 days of the year. And that's why the brain has the power to direct the limbs according to the person's will by drawing down the physical power and life force, which allows the limb to accomplish physically that which it is directed by the brain. Similarly, in Rosh Hashanah, there is a spiritual potential to form the months of the year. Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, and their particular weeks, and in turn, their particular days. For example, that a desire rises up in the brain to move the hand, the message travels through the nerves of the hand to move in that specific way. And according to the desire in the brain to fulfill the person's desire, and in the same way, the move of the foot and all the other organs. So there's a general source for all these particular moves, which is the brain of the head. Since it's the beginning of the person's formation, remember the brain forms first inside the mother, which includes all of them together, which includes all of these spiritual potentials as one in a spiritual way. And just like in an earthly person, so too in a supernal man. Even though Hashem has described as having a form. Like it said, heaven is his throne and the earth is his footstool. So we see there's a supernal man who has a throne that he sits on and a footstool that he rests his feet on. From my flesh I will see God. In order for the Infinite One to connect with finite creatures, he dresses himself in a garment through which we can connect to him. So even though Hashem has no limbs or form, he emanates an attribute of kindness, which we call his right arm. Or he emanates an attribute of divine intelligence, which we call his brain. Okay?
Yeah.
You got it?
I
it.
got it.
Even though Hashem has no form of a body, he does emanate an attribute of kindness, and that's symbolized by the right arm of the man on the throne. And the power of action we describe as his lower extremities, and they're not an arm or a head or extremities at all, just an anthropomorphic symbol. Gimel Elef, you know what anthropomorphic means?
It's a morphic thing that's very anthric.
It means a symbolic man. Not a man with a body, but a symbolic man, because there's intelligence and emotions that are manifest. For an attribute through which the infinite can connect with limited creatures. So that's like the world of Atzilus. And we in turn can connect with him through understanding how we work. We can understand how he works. And that supernal man goes through stages of development, which can be metaphorically, a metaphor means a muscle, understood by the development of person in the head of the supernal man. You can understand from how a person develops, how it is in the head of the supernal man. We said a person develops, his brain develops first, and from that comes out the rest of his body. And that head of the supernal man is formed every year on Rosh Hashanah, and that's why it's called Rosh Hashanah head. In the supernal world of emanation, Atzilus is the palace, so to speak, of that supernal man who's sitting on that throne. And its development, which is Oros V'Kelim, lights and vessels, can be understood through the metaphor of an earthly person. The coming into being of the physical body corresponds to the building of the vessels, of the kelim. On the level of the supernal man, as explained in Kabbalah, particularly in the book Eitz Chaim, the vessel of the head, that's where intellect is, and the crown, that's where desire and delight is, of the supernal man, is the object of our metaphor of a person's head, and why Rosh Hashanah is called the head of the year. And its spiritual component is illustrated by example of our soul. The enlivening factor of the vessels of the head and the crown, the soul, that's going to be the Oros in the world of Atzilus. And the body is going to be the Kelim in the world of Atzilus. The right hand, the left hand, and there's a soul that enlivens it. And that's going to be the Oros, the lights of the world of Atzilus in that supernal man, which fill and enliven the vessels of that divine structure. And the vessels are like our body, and the lights are like our soul, like it says in Eitz Chaim. And from the drops of the mother and the father, which are the metaphors of the supernal intellect, father is Chachma, mother is Bina, which are the spiritual head of the supernal man, is drawn down the spiritual form called in the person the soul. The soul comes from the lights, from Chachma and Bina, into the vessels, into the kelim, the body. And in the supernal realm, this more spiritual element are called lights, the soul. And by a person, the soul is also in the brain first, and it's the drop that is drawn from the brain of the Father and includes all the spiritual powers of the soul. So too is the coming into being of the bodily limbs whose leader and prime fundament is the brain in the physical person. The first thing formed is the brain of the head, like we said. So through the head, the brain, Rosh Hashanah in the world will be developed the soul and body of the supernal king during the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And focusing the microscope in a more detailed way, it explains that each man, whether earthly or supernal, contains three manifestations. There's an inner man, an outer man, and a middle man. And the middle man connects the inner man and the outer man. Like a person is called Adam, man, which contains two parts. There's an Aleph, that which is higher and aloof from the world, like the soul. And the Daled Mem means blood, dam.
Bitzalil. It's aloof, like aloof.
Aloof, exactly. The soul is aloof from the world, but it comes into the blood, which is really the world. The Aleph, indicates the spiritual light of the person's soul, as it includes all the potential for the physical powers like sight and hearing, all the way down to walking, are all included in potential in the soul of a person. And this soul level of lights in the supernal realm is called the inner person, Adam Panimi. The middle person is the source of the 365 nerves and blood vessels.
Oh, the nerves.
The days of the year. From the head, from Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, comes out the days of the year. And how do they come out? Through the nerves and the blood vessels. Like the nerves of the brain mentioned earlier, which connect the essential spirit level of the soul to emerge as the life of the flesh. In other words, those nerves are the middleman, which connects the inner man, the soul, to the limbs of the body, the outer man. That's what them nerves do.
Them nerves.
So the head includes all the powers and potentials of the limbs from the head to the foot. So, do you guys have a nigga?
We do.
If not, I could say.
We do. Moshe, same chords. Give me the E minor.
I just want to share. I mentioned that we should tell the non-Jews who say that we stole our land, their land, that really Hashem created the world, and He gave it to us as a gift and an inheritance. And when we do, the 70 Sarim B'Shamayim will bow down to that decree of the King of the universe.
Who's the Sarim Bashamayim?
Huh?
What means
The angels. The angels.
I like the angels. That's the angels of these nations.
The Tsar of Egypt came at the Yam Suf, and Moshe put his foot on his neck. So,
and then
in the meantime, while they're tuning up,
you know what the angel of Egypt said?
Oi.
He said, "Uncle."
That's exactly what he said.
Give me an E minor.
Uncle Moses.
Wait a second.
Well, while they're tuning up,
I gotta.
I'll insert a joke song.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Wait, listen, Moshe, this is where if you want to do like a blues something, listen to what he's doing, do some kind of a bluesy thing. This
I think I found my guitar pick.
Where the Jews, where the Jews.
Where the Jews, where the Jews.
We got a message for you.
Oh, we got a message for you.
Where the Jews, where the Jews.
Yeah, we're the Jews, we're the Jews.
Got King Universe Blues.
King of the Universe Blues.
Gonna tell you a story.
Gonna tell you a story.
Gonna tell you slow.
Hey, gonna tell you slow.
You know the Lord is cooler than an Eskimo. We're the Jews, we're the Jews.
We're the Jews, we're the Jews.
We got a message for you.
Oh, we got a message for you.
We're the Jews, we're the Jews.
Oh, we're the Jews.
We got the King of the
King
Universe
of the Universe Blues.
Now God told Noah.
Oh, God told Noah.
And Moses told me.
Yeah, Moses told me.
You got 7 commandments for you and for me.
7
We're the Jews, we're the Jews.
We're the Jews, we're the Jews.
We got a message for
Oh,
you.
we got
We're the Jews, we're the Jews.
We're the Jews, we're the Jews.
We got the King of the Universe Blues. Now go ahead, do your E thing.
Where's your E? Where's the E minor?
Where's the E minor?
Have it ready. Ay la da da, ay la da da, ay 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 la da da, ay la da, ay la da da, ay la da da, ay 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 ho, ay ay la da da, ay 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 la da da, ay la da da, ay 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 ay
A note before we continue, let's call it a word from our sponsor.
Bitzalel, I just want to say one thing before
We have a
the
sponsor?
First of all, just by your being here, you help very much. You should know this. Because it adds a chayus, it adds a liveliness to this. But also, you should know, if you happen to have a smartphone on you, you want to help further, you take your smartphone, you look up, I guess the easiest way is look up on Facebook, Mendel Markel, M-E-N-D-E, what do you have? YouTube?
I don't know anything.
Go Baruch Hashem.
None of it.
Go Baruch Hashem. For those who have something, if you look it up on, he's a flip phone.
Yeah, let me try mine actually.
You also have
What do you
phone.
have to start up with them right now? Do it when you get
No,
it.
it's a good time.
Good point.
Anyways, if you find it later also, but share to your friends and also get the...
Especially
No,
people out
Bitzalel,
there.
what's the voice from the sponsor?
So
Bitzalel!
I just want to point out that none of this stuff is mine. I'm sure everybody is surprised. It basically comes from a book from a Teres Rosh by the Midler Rebbe, which is the mimer about Rosh Hashanah. So how the new light comes into the world, that will be the soul of the year. And that soul of the year, the inner man. And in the year, the macrocosm of year, the middle connector is time, the 365 days of the year. While space, the 6 directions, is the outer man. And on both levels of a person, the inner and the outer, the brain of the head includes all. Rosh Hashanah. And from it branches out the particular powers to the particular limbs. Only that one, the inner man, is spiritual. So too the new year, from Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. The outer man is physical, the days of the year, and the direction. And each one depends on the other. And they're really whole, like the spiritual desire of the soul, for a specific spark of godliness in a physical object is unified in the vessel of the brain and the head to bring about a physical move. Just, I can add, it's not really in here, but I can add that when the soul is told to come down to enliven the body, it doesn't want to do it. It develops a desire to do it because that's what Hashem wants. But Hashem gives it not just a stick, I want you to do that, he gives it a carrot. And the carrot he gives it, he shows that neshama the spark of godliness that it's going to get, which is going to allow it to get to a higher level than it is already. And that's entices the soul to be able to come down until it finally comes down into the foot to take the move to get the godly spark that it was shown originally that it could get down here in this world and no place else. And then there's a message to the hand to pick the thing up, and a message to the lips to form and say the words of the bracha. So the head of a person is the general metaphor through which to understand the life of the new year in Rosh Hashanah, which is called the head of the world. And this head of the world of the new year contains three things: world, the six directions, space, a year,
Shana.
time, Shana, which is the middleman, the 365 days, Nefesh, the inner man, what enlivens all of that, the new light that comes down when we blow the shofar. But in our metaphor, the soul is dressed in physical limbs, but in the object of the metaphor, in the year in Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, the limbs are the angels. By us, the limbs are our limbs of our body, and the soul is the light that enlivens. But in the metaphor, the limbs of the Shekhinah are the angels. So certain angels, for example, are called eyes of the Shekhinah, or feet of the Shekhinah, or the stomach of the Shekhinah, which means Hashem's indwelling presence in the world is the soul of those angelic limbs. And year, time, includes all the 6,000 years. Does everybody know how that works?
The 6,000.
Anybody knows how that works? The 6,000 years in general? Well, there's 6 days of a week. And there is 6,000 years of the whole creation. And there are 6 godly attributes in the world of Atzilus. And there are 6 directions. Right?
6 directions, B'tzalel.
So there's in time, there's in general 6,000 years. The year 0 to 1,000 is Sunday of the big day, of the big week. And the year 1,000 to 2,000 is Monday of the big week. All the way up to 6,000.
So that's Friday. So are we on
Yeah.
Friday now, B'tzalel?
I think so. Wow. And the world's existence in this specific year is included in those 6,000. And it's an amazing thing how Hashem knows which year to come into with all those years.
A lot of years. But you
Will
know,
be
B'tzalel,
broken.
the Rebbe is a good mathematician.
And this specific year, out of those 6,000, will be broken into 365 days, which corresponds to the middleman of the soul, which is the nerves. How the nerves bring the message from the head to the limbs. So in effect, we have 3 heads manifest in the head of the year: world, space, time, and the life of both, which is the soul. The godly man on the throne, and both are unified in the head of Hashem, space and time. And this means that just like a person has a spiritual soul whose seat is in his brain, which is the source of all of his potential and powers, so too does the world have a godly spiritual source for all of its revealed manifestation, and that's going to be in the head in Rosh Hashanah. And that spiritual source has its seat in the head of the year, Rosh Hashanah. Hashem himself is an exalted king, meaning he's separate from worlds and he's separate from any of this enlivening worlds. Even the highest spiritual worlds, like we say between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the holy king, how do you say that? HaMelech HaKodesh.
Melech HaKodesh, yeah.
Meaning he's completely separate. Or like in the Don Olam, the godly king, before anything was created, Don Olam Asher Malach. When we make him king, but we make him king, our king, through the sound of the shofar. We connect that exalted king to us. And it draws his enjoyment which is the crown of the godly man, into being our king. Hashem gets his enjoyment about being our king. The exalted king, who's not connected with worlds at all, has delight and enjoyment and tainug in being our king, and we bring it about. He's not just the boss of the world, which he is anyway. He has enjoyment, and his enjoyment is drawn down and manifest by us through the horn of plenty, through the shofar. It also brings out all the brachas for the whole year. And it's necessary inner dimension, which is tshuva, for a bountiful and enjoyable year. On Rosh Hashanah, Adam, the first man, was created, even though the world was created on the 25th of Elul, because Adam coronated Hashem as king of the world. And Hashem's desire in creating the world to dwell with us as our king. And even though he's essentially exalted, he wants to and gets infinite enjoyment through being our king. Kasiva v'chasima tova. Thank you for your attention.
You know, Chevre, you ready to get heavy?
He has an
You
appeal.
ready to get heavy? You know, Chevre, that there's a niggin from the Alter Rebbe. It's called Dalit Bobis, the full products. You know this niggin? Well, we're going to do it how we can do it. But let me tell you like this. This niggin, actually, it's such a powerful niggin that we only sing it at certain times. And it says about this niggin, if we sing it not in the right times, it's so powerful it could actually be ma'irek etrugim. You know what this means?
What's that mean?
It can awaken
Bad stuff,
it can awaken bad decrees. That's how powerful this is.
Wow.
If we sing it in the wrong times.
Is
Some
this-
of the right times, for example, we sing it by a wedding, right? We sing this by chasna. We sing it also with the kisle, the Satan by the last day of Yom Tov. What's amazing is, do you know that the whole month of Elul is one of the times that we sing this niggin? That's right. And you know, and mitzalel, I find it very disturbing that people don't take advantage when you have such a month, that in this entire month we can sing down above this. But here's the thing: if you can imagine, if when we sing it in the wrong time, it can awaken bad decrees. Imagine when we sing it in the right time. So this is why we should take advantage of it, right? Of course, we're going to feist, yeah. Ready, Chevre? Ya ma ya ma Ah Hey,
That was wonderful.
My dear, it was very wonderful. My dear brothers and sisters, ich habe up here. This week, this Motzi Shabbos, after Shabbos, early in the morning we begin the shliach. But let me tell you what's happening this coming up week. This coming up week, on Thursday morning, is Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. The day you can bring all the blessings down upon yourself. Like Bezalel said, it's the head of the year. The head, because all of the things in the body start at the head and then they go through the body. This day is the head of the year. My dear brothers and sisters, I beg of you, not because I care about me, but because I care about you. It is important to go on this day to hear the shofar. On this day you can go hear the shofar blowing. And this shofar and hear the prayers that are crowning Hashem. And these prayers and this shofar will bring you all the blessings for you. And because I love you so much, I want to beg from every one of you. You can go to Chabad.org, CHABAD.org, and find the shliach, the emissary of the Lubavitcher Rebbe closest to you. And he will be happy to make sure that you go
at night.
It's not good. My bad.
And you'll be happy to go and make sure that you hear the shofar. My dear brothers and sisters, this year, this Thursday morning, go find the Chabad nearest to you. Yes. By the way, it doesn't have to be a Chabad. It could be, if there's a Sephardic shul near you, go there. Doesn't make a difference. The main thing is, find a synagogue, an Orthodox synagogue near you, and go hear the blowing of the shofar, and go accept Hashem as your king, as the king upon the world. By the way, like Bezalel said before, this will help the land of Israel too. Let me tell you, Chevre, we can go, we can fly the flags and all this. You want to help the land of Israel? Bezalel, you tell me if I'm wrong, but you want to help the land of Israel, the Rebbe said, because the land of Israel, the people of Israel and the God of Israel is all one. Go and coronate the God of Israel as your God. And go do the Torah of Israel and be the people of Israel so that the land of Israel shall have blessings and peace and joy. Go find an Orthodox synagogue near you. Like I said, you can go to Chabad.org, CHABAD.org. There's a finder there. You can put in your zip code, your city, your country. It will find a Chabad shliach near you. Go accept Hashem as your king. And go hear the shofar blowing. to accept Hashem is that this is the big trumpet that through this blowing. First of all, we do tshuva, we return to Hashem, and we accept Him as our King. And I ask each and one of you, go make sure you hear the shofar. This Nitzavim, this is mine appeal.
Amen.
Amen.
And bring your kids.
And your wife, and your kids, and not just that. Even I know this sounds horrifying, but even your parents, your kids. How much fun! No, even bring your cranky, decrepit parents, because every single Jew needs to hear the shofar, my dear brothers and sisters.
Gezintahait, Gezintahait, Gezintahait. Remember, kids, Gezintahait.
That's right, Gezintahait, and don't forget to go hear the shofar this Rosh Hashanah. Hello. Hey, Chasimata, Bishanata, Omezuka, Hey, Sira, Hey, Chasimata, Bishanata, Omezuka, Hey, Sira, Chasimata, Bishanata, Omezuka, Sira, Chasimata, Hashem.